Holy Nemesis donuts, we are live. How are you all doing, everyone? Welcome to the Chain Dogs podcast, where we talk about everything theme parks, roller coasters, and all that sort of stuff, really. So thank you for joining us. Obviously, this is not our usual day. We normally do this on a Wednesday. But because we missed last week's and then a few of us can't do Wednesday, so we thought we need to do a special podcast where we just talk about Nemesis. So if you hate Nemesis, see you later. That's all I'm
I have a beautiful time.
Hello,
So, yeah.
bye.
How are we all doing, guys? We all right?
Good,
All
cheers.
good. All good.
Yes. Thank you to everyone.
Sorry,
for
more
joining us in
energy.
the chat.
Woo! Yeah, we're great.
Woo!
Yeah, let's do that.
There we go. Nice to see everyone in the chat. Hello, Tom. Hello,
Wow, yeah.
Dan. Hello, Alison. Hello, Owen.
Hello.
Many people
Hello,
watching
Joe.
on a Monday.
Hello, Matt. Exactly.
Monday's
Sam.
the place to be, though.
I think you should go to
Yeah.
Mondays.
Chris.
Hi, two.
Screwloops. How you doing, man?
Moist.
We've got Bradley. We've got Jesse.
Monday is the new Wednesday.
Yes. So 21. I just realised we're 21 watching. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, there's so many people
Nice.
watching. Like, hello,
Okay,
everyone.
we're going to start doing it on Mondays. then.
Yeah,
Hello,
welcome to the Chain Dogs podcast where
everybody.
we air every Monday.
Every
Gets out of the
Monday.
way, doesn't it,
Oh,
you know?
mate, how many times I'm going to have to change either
No.
the time or the bloody day on that other thumbnails?
It's like you can't go onto YouTube, it's like reuse settings. It just doesn't exist with our podcast.
You never know when we're going to be on,
Yeah.
but we're going to be on at some point.
Yes, we will.
Exactly. Hello, Emma. Hello, Scared Track.
Wow,
Mikey
everyone.
and Hammer.
Nice one.
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah.
So, with all of you being here, get some questions in. What are your thoughts about Nemesis as well? Let us know.
I thought he was going to make an announcement then, Luke.
No.
Oh, you here?
Adventure Collect has a new
pregnant.
video. Go
Yeah, I was
check it
about
out.
to say, what about Adventure Collect? I thought you were going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, but anything you want to talk about, guys, in the chat, it's going to be like, well, I say it's a more relaxed one. It normally is. This morning is pretty relaxed. I don't think you
Bit
can get
more of a
relaxed.
hangout stream, really, than
Yeah.
people talk
Where
about.
we,
Nemesis.
Yeah, definitely. I'm terrified for it, so worried, not gonna lie. Oh, we'll get onto that. So Jesse is worried.
Oh, no.
So I think some
About
people are
what?
actually. I think people are worried. I mean, we'll get into it, but I think some people are
Sure.
just worried that it's gonna. I mean, we may as well just
Okay.
get into it now. So some
Mhm.
people are worried that one, like, it's gonna sound differently, which sounds stupid if it was anything else other than Nemesis, because it's just so renowned for it.
It's in a valley. It's going to sound awesome.
Yeah.
No matter
yeah.
what.
But also that it's just not going to have the same, because it's going to be. It depends what they do with it. Are they going to reprofile some of the bits, because it's imperfect in a good way? So it's still going to have that snap out of like the corkscrew and stuff. You know
Oh
what I
yeah,
mean?
for
So-
sure. Yeah, no,
I
think,
don't think they're going to reprofile.
I don't think they're going to reprofile anything. It's just going to be
Yes.
like for like Hulk kind
Yeah,
of
straight to
tackle, you know?
replacement.
Yeah, it's just going to be
Yeah.
replace it. Build it as it was off the original plans and put it in with new steel and new concrete. That is all it's going to be, I reckon.
Yeah.
I mean, I know this is not Nemesis, but someone took a picture. Forgive me, I can't remember who it is, but someone took a picture of the Big One track today from inside the track. You could see inside where it was all rusted away. And bear in mind, that's on a low piece of track as well. It's not high up, you know, it's not high up. It's quite covered and protected from the elements protected more than other pieces of track that have been taken off. This looked like it was old. Okay, so imagine what Nemesis's track's like. Imagine what the supports are like now. It's getting on. It's in a tree sap area. There's so much tree sap. You know, I mean, you look at Galactica's track. That thing is full of.
I think we should start with that then. Really, like the reason, because I've seen a few people like comment about how, you know, the Batman coasters. You know, they've been, a lot of them are at like parks that operate all year round, and they're still running fine and stuff. What do we think? I personally think it's just because it's a damp place.
It's a microclimate. Nemesis is in a corner and it's in a man-made hole. It's
With
covered by
water
lots
around.
and lots, and trust me when I say this, lots of big leaf trees, massive trees, and some of them trees as well that are there below.
I just want to mention, anyone who don't know, like, this is actually Luke's, like, this is what Luke knows. Like, Luke knows a lot about like whatever you call it, like gardening and stuff. That's what he's done for all his years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Landscape.
there could be a lot of root damage as well, because there was a shit ton of ivy that was all over the place. And I believe it was 2015, 2016 season where they actually sprayed a lot of it off, and they killed a lot of it off. And that's when they did a lot of the. When did they do the station for Nemesis? When did they repaint it? Was it 2015? Was it 2016? I can't remember now. But anyway,
was it the same time they did the track as well, or was it? No,
no.
It doesn't
Yeah,
seem
it was a
that
bit
long
after,
ago.
weren't it? No, I think it
18?
wasn't that long ago. It
No,
would
it
have been
weren't that
18,
long
I
ago.
think.
18? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
it might have
Let
been
us know in the
18.
chat if you know when it was. Let us know. But they cleared off a lot of ivy and a lot of brash and a lot of dead trees and a lot of woodland area that just wasn't doing anything for the park. I noticed last year when we went to opening how much more they cleared out. So obviously they're looking after their environments there at Towers really well. What I think might have happened with Nemesis is that it's just the climate that it's in is a microclimate. It's in the corner of basically the back of a hill. So everything that rains drops down. So that's probably why you see the fountains off. Sometimes you see them on. It's because obviously they're stopping the bottom from flooding, like for cheat hunt, for example. So they're stopping all that from happening. It all runs off the banking. So it all will run down. And the supports are inside the land. It's inside the banking. So there's probably been damage over this amount of time that's just got too much and too much and too much and too much. And then on one inspection, someone's probably seen something and gone, we either do something now or that's it. And I think Towers have just gone, well, let's do something now then. Let's retrack it. Let's resupport it. And let's look after our main, our ride. Nemesis is Alton Towers, in my opinion. That is what it is. And that's what put them on the map. You could argue Corkscrew, but Nemesis, come on. Clearly it's Towers. It's a ride of Alton Towers. And I think the decision they've made is such a nice decision to like the enthusiasts, to John Wardley, to like the whole atmosphere that Nemesis brings to the park, and that brings like the community and everyone that's been there since '94 riding that beast, every year. This is such a nice thing for the park to do. They didn't have to do it. They could have gone, nah, scrap it, put something else in, and let's see what happens. But they didn't. They've held on. They've held the nerve, and I applaud them. I can't wait to see like an opening day of Nemesis, because it's not many of us got to go there in '94. So hopefully they've got snapbacks and umbrellas for sale. So it'll be pretty cool. I can't wait. I'm really excited.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. Could you, like you say, imagine like we go into kind of like a reopening of Nemesis. Like, that's going to be a big flipping event, man. That's going to be, because I know everyone's saying it's not going to count as a new cred, and I'm not in either camp. I don't give a shit. It's just Nemesis at the end of the day. But I don't care what it is, but it's gonna feel different either way, because even if it is taking this long for it to feel the way it does now, coasters do feel different. So we're gonna almost probably feel like we're gonna get an experience of what Nemesis was like on opening day.
It'll be interesting to see how much they click, because when Nemesis first opened, there was hardly any trees, hardly any bushes or anything. And if they're going to have to clear out areas to get to the supports and stuff, maybe we might see the return of the rock faces that are actually on the walls behind all of that stuff, behind the dirt that's been and the moss that's been building up. Are we going to get a burn Nemesis of '94? Like, oh man, it's going to be so.
Someone back in time.
Yeah. Someone mentioned will the red come back? It will never come back. It will never come back.
I know it's too. Unless they can figure out a dye that doesn't affect the environment, which is practically
it's just dye. It's the nature of it's the nature of dye in itself. It's like it's making just a natural. It's just polluting, even if it's not even harmful. It's just polluting water.
Get a bottle of Ribena, stand next to the waterfall, and hold it up.
yeah.
And there you
Someone
go.
will do it one day. But the problem with that is, I've read a lot about this over the years, because I was always like, bring back the red. And then when you realize to try and make a closed ecosystem of water is so difficult, because as soon as it rains, things overflow. It's going to end.
It would just flood if they tried to make it a closed ecosystem.
Yeah. It's just, it's not going to work.
And a lot of the drainage shoots off and down off out the park through the woodlands where Woodland Walk used to be for Forbidden Valley, and straight down that hill. Obviously, it's just a natural drop off. So that's where it all goes. That's where it all builds up. There happens to be a sewage system behind there as well. So you can't really be throwing red dye water down there. Probably not the best idea. Yes, Ribena.
Yeah,
Yes,
it'd be fine. I'd say just fill the thing with Ribena.
Yeah. And if you're a bit thirsty.
Nemesis 2.0, sponsored by Ribena.
Oh no. Can you imagine?
That'd be
Yeah,
amazing.
and people saying like vest restraints might happen, like that coaster only just clears clearance, like legit. It's no chance.
Do you think we'll have at least have new trains though?
I don't know.
Think
I think they may have already.
I think they might just do the wheel bogies rather than
possibly
the entire train.
I mean, if we do get new trains, though, I mean, I don't see why B&M wouldn't do that with the track as a package. You know, the supports track train. It's basically just buying Nemesis again, but probably twice as much. How much it costs?
Because they have to make it the same.
The lift hill. That's a good point, Aaron. Yeah.
Yeah, so why are they keeping the lift hill, do you think? What's the reason?
I just think it's not under stress, really. It's not. I mean, yes,
it's a low stress part of the ride.
But it's not like the bottom of the corkscrew, for example.
They're keeping the station and brake tracks as well, aren't they?
Yeah. So, well,
which is a good portion of the entire thing, really, when you think about it.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
It is really.
It's a massive portion of it.
Yeah.
Yes, Monster at Grunland.
Yes,
has got Gen
RGB.
1 trains.
And if any of you
Gen 1 trains with RGB.
Yeah. If anyone's seen our VTO New Year's Day video that we did where we threw RGB on Nemesis, then I hope Tower's seen that and went, let's do that. That looks cool.
Oh,
That'd be awesome.
Well, that's the thing. Grunland have got them, so I would hope that we got some new, just to make it just a little bit more special as well. It'd be nice to have new trains and
yes, they don't run it that much at night, do they, Nemesis? There's only a select amount of weeks per year that they run the park at night. But on a dark, gloomy day at Towers, which is 99.9% of the time, you can put the RGB on.
But it's getting more common now. Night rides are. Think about like Oktoberfest.
Yeah,
Oktoberfest. We had some decent night rides over that period.
I agree.
And it's later openings and stuff. I mean, it could happen that they start thinking about the future of it and more permanent lighting and stuff. It makes a massive difference, doesn't it? Really. But yeah. So shall we talk about the sand?
Mikhail, what do you think about the sand?
About the sand specifically?
Yeah, like how, well, not about the sand, but about how the sand might impact Nemesis.
What grain of sand would I be using?
What grain of sand would I like to see? Would I like to not see in the track?
Clay sand.
Honestly, I'm not too worried about it. Because it's gonna take away. I don't think it's gonna take away you're still gonna be able to hear the ride. Like when you're in there, there are other the other B&Ms that have sand, like tracks filled with sand in them. You can still hear the sound they're making as the train goes round.
Inferno, right? Inferno has sand, I believe.
I'm not sure about Inferno. It might do, but
I know Spawn does.
But some obviously have sand in the box spine of the track, whereas some only have it in the rails of the track. So obviously what the configuration in Nemesis is going to be, I don't know, but honestly, with the like you said, Luke, with the fact that the ride is in a massive pit, a significant portion of the ride is underground, dodging through trenches and stuff. The sound is I don't know if the sound is going to be soaked up and dampened by the terrain, or if the sound is going to bounce off the surfaces and stuff and be amplified by the terrain. I'm not sure, but you are still going to be able to hear it. Like it's not gonna hinder the ride experience as much as some people might be fearful that it will.
Yeah.
because like there are like I said, other B&Ms that have sand in their tracks. Like the lack of a signature B&M raw that say like something like Raptor at Cedar Point has doesn't affect the ride experience.
No.
So
I
It's,
think
I'll laugh if we get there on opening day and it's just like
I
Silent.
would be fucking well impressed if that happened.
My take on it's right.
Ow!
It's not. You'll still
that
hear
would be
it,
more
right, when you're
impressive than
there,
anything else, I think.
but
yeah,
it's
well,
to
we
stop
know
it
we do
travelling
know we're going to
further,
hear.
right?
Do you think that?
It's
Oh, go on,
it's the
Aaron.
signature sound I think everyone's talking
Yeah.
about.
But it's
Oh.
just to stop it from travelling as far, right?
Well,
yeah.
I don't.
Sound.
I see. This is where I disagree somewhat, and I think it's just there for like just so they've got some leverage on it because it's so far away from like the village. It's like the most furthest away you can be from the village, so it's not like it's not really going to be that significant because of the fact that it's going to be reverberating around inside the hole and stuff. But I don't know. I saw.
I also think
on
if
my-
that was a pressing issue, they would have rectified
They
it
would have done it.
by
They
now.
would have done it by now. I think
Yeah.
it's just something to like tick off and go, oh well, actually it's going to benefit the noise, and I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. But also there was a video I found on the Towers Time forums. I'll put it on my live stream when I did about it. About it was Nick Varney and John doing a talk. It was from a few years ago.
I was there.
And someone asked the question like, how does it have its signature roar? And John Wardley said, well, we filled it with sand, which is why it has a deep roar rather than a high pitched one. And he literally said we filled it with sand and it echoes around it, so it's not as big. I think it's probably maybe a different technique they're using now, but it's already got sand in it. So if there's going to be a different, it's going to be so minute that no one's going to hear it. It's more about to do with the, just the value and everything.
So you need the sand.
Extending its service life and
Yeah.
just making it I
going.
suppose a more comfortable ride for most people, because it is like I don't mind the ride experience on Nemesis at all. I mean, it's my favorite UK coaster for a reason, but like a lot of people do find it jarring, and like this is gonna rectify that from a smoothness standpoint, as well as, like I said, extending the ride's service life. It's arguably the most important coaster in the country. But
I think it's because a lot of us have grown with it. So it's like when we probably all first did it, it was not as I'm from a feeling the kind of intenseness side of it is that like when we first did it, it probably wasn't anywhere near as intense as it is now. But because we do it all the time, it kind of like we get used to it year on year, getting a little bit, maybe a little bit more rough, a little bit rougher. So when you get like a new enthusiast come along, it's probably, like you say, it's just so bloody jarring to them that it's like it's unpleasant. Whereas I know a lot of people, that's a lot of people's first ride in Nemesis, believe it or not, is these days is probably takes a while to grow on them, if you know what I mean. So there is arguments to be saying, should a coaster be like that? Really, I think yes. But
did you guys think Nemesis ran like last season? I thought it ran really well.
I thought it was so good, man. Like I had some of the best rides last year on it I've ever had.
Yeah,
it was just as good, if not better, than any other time.
Yeah, it felt like it was hauling ass last year. Like every ride that I had on it was just crazy.
Alison was saying, how does Nemesis roar compare to other inverts?
To compare it to other inverts, because like we say, it's in a pit. So I'd love to hear Nemesis just on a flat car park, just in the middle of like nowhere.
The thing is, I'll say like the loudest B&M roar I've heard on any invert is on Raptor at Cedar Point. Like Nemesis's roar is not as loud as that.
That's out in the open. That's not in a. That's actually like on a flat land, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And like there are Batman clones that, like their roars are really loud as well.
I don't necessarily think it's the loudness of it though. It's just the unique point of it being in, like you say, like just being over a pit, not even in it. It's just like over it. You know, when it comes down, it's just that it's such a. I don't know. It might also just being like a really sentimental about it, but for me, every time I hear that,
maybe,
I'm like,
but
I think
like
I think the fact that like I said, like it may be soaked up by the terrain in some areas of the ride, but then you remember the ride spends so much time underground that like it bounces off the sound will bounce off the walls of the tunnels that it flies through.
Yeah.
So like it is unique in that sense, in the sense that it is quiet in some places, but like and then it'll jump out at you at some other spots.
You guys have ridden Black Mamba, right? So yeah. What is it like compared to that?
I'd say Black Mamba I'm pretty sure it doesn't sound anything like Nemesis. It doesn't even sound that loud. I mean, you've got
that might be for a reason though, because they have
the vertical
neighbors,
loop.
Right?
The vertical loop is like kind of, you can hear, obviously you hear it, but it's nothing like the rest. But also, again, it's very low to the ground, that is, and if I remember rightly, there's quite a lot of like shrubbery everywhere that probably dampens it. I think it has a lot of dampening, and also you've got like the lift hill goes inside as well, so a good portion of like coming down that drop is like covered and stuff. So they've just done a good job. What Phantasialand have to do is like cover everything over. That's ridiculously close to actual people's houses.
Yeah,
like
because that's that question I just asked, is the neighbors there. I've never been to it, but I know that they've had some sort of sound issues.
It's the reason why
another thing as well, like with Black Mamba that I noticed last year, which I didn't notice in 2018, was I don't know what it is about, and I can't remember if I've said this to you guys already, but when I rode it, it didn't rattle. Like the train didn't rattle, the ride didn't feel rattly at all. But me and my friend both noticed this. There was a rattling sound coming from somewhere.
Right.
And we were both questioning it. We rode it a couple of times and we were both questioning where that sound was coming up from. We ended up thinking it was the wheel covers that were just, maybe it was like a loose wheel cover just rattling around like above us, because like I said, the ride didn't feel rattly. It wasn't the train wasn't shuffling or anything like that, but there was just this rattling sound coming out of nowhere. And then when we got off, we could hear it off ride as well. And it was to the point where it was almost masking any kind of roar that the train was creating. So like
maybe it's like
that was the like distinguishing sound that I remember hearing from watching the train go around.
It's like when you watch a POV that's got a GoPro case on the GoPro and it like rattles a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
like that.
It was a little bit.
Didn't
like
Montu? Didn't they do something with wheel covers recently? Did they take them off, or I can't remember. I remember seeing something like they changed the color of some, but did they run it without for a bit? I don't
remember seeing it running without wheel covers. They repainted them a good several years ago.
Might be what I'm thinking of.
They used to have the mosaic.
Yes.
The bird that represents the god of war, the Egyptian god of war, on the wheel covers, but then they repainted them to just some generic color scheme, which I'm still salty about to this day.
Sorry, bro, didn't mean to bring it up.
Maybe the rattling was just everyone's spare chains getting lost. Like on a Miami, and you just hear it rattling around.
So
they just got a little chain straw
chain
underneath the seat. Yeah, go on.
So speaking of paint, do we think the track will go back to its original colours?
Please.
Or, I hope it does. Or will they go to what they have now?
I think
considering a brand new version.
Considering the supports are being changed as well. So
I don't see why they would go back to the original color, because I think what they're doing, they obviously made a conscious choice to make it the color it is now.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
This looks rusted.
But I like that.
stabbed by a tea bag.
It looks like they wanted to when it got repainted, it looks like they wanted to make the visual effect that the track had deliberate. That's what that's what the repaint looks like it was, and I can't see why they would want to go away from that now. I would hope that, you know, they kind of, because like I'm not entirely sure when it opened they actually put any paint effects on it. Like
Yeah.
I mean they kind of I suppose they kind of did, but like they
all
it wasn't as
on site
glaring. It wasn't as striking as
That is
as it is now. And
I
then
would say
they
this.
just let I'll let you go in a sec. And then they just
Yeah.
let the supports kind of weather as they did over the years, which I mean you were seeing evidence of that on the supports now. So I do just kind of think they'll do the same thing with, you know, with this iteration of it, to be honest.
So they did deliberately paint the supports individually in between all the flanges and stuff like that on site. They did it as well to the track there before they installed it. The only reason I'm thinking that they might go back to the original color scheme is because they are doing works on the station as well. So whether or not they're going to try and mismatch 1 and 2 to make it work, I think the original color scheme would be freaking awesome because, hear me out, the rock walls that they had were like almost like a bright red orange, and the track was really matte gray. Now you've got the contrast with the trees, with the bushes, with the foliage, with everything that's there. It would stand out so much. It would look so nice. It would look evil. It would look evil as hell.
Yeah.
And if they do the supports how they did them back then as well, it would look great. I do like the support color now.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of that, like dark blue black. It's really nice.
I would like to see them do that, but with the rusted effect on the joints of the supports that they had before the
rusted
repaint.
effect.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's because
the rusted effect on the track after the repaint was like it. I do prefer it on the original, but it looked more deliberate after the repaint.
Yeah,
but the I would like to see that same rusted effect on the supports like it used to be.
That would be nice on the supports, definitely.
What's the chat
I was a big fan of the whole repainting of it. It took a while for me to get used to it, but it's really grew on me now. And when I see older pictures of Nemesis now, I'm like, I actually much prefer it now, especially like the station and stuff.
Yeah.
When they did it the first time, it was the first repaint they did. It's not good.
I feel like they'll want to have it. Someone just mentioned. Brad O'Connor mentioned that they need to show us the new coaster. That's a good point in terms of marketing it as well.
Imagine it's black.
Like, in terms of marketing footage. I kind of feel like that they would want to make all the effects look on the track and supports look as striking as possible.
I just hope that with the station building, they build it out of something a little bit stronger, because, you know, like when it's just all getting like kicked away and like where you're queuing up against in the actual station, it's just like fiberglass, isn't it? Like they need to do something. They need to do something there to protect it, because
basically
it's
a shed that's covered in so much fiberglass. It's unbelievable.
This country needs to realise, just don't put fences around queue lines, and don't put buildings against queue lines, because people will graffiti on it. People will do anything to it. You just can't trust them. No. So
my understanding, though, of the station, it's only minor theming, maintenance, I think it said.
So it's going to be repairing anything.
It's going to be like sticking it back, repainting like patches.
I think the way I read that was that it's minor in compared to retracking an entire ride. That's what I thought. Like, so, you know, even like a repaint is pretty minor compared to
holy shit, 28 people watching. That's crazy.
The other side. That's what I think. I think they will do some significant repair. They need to do some significant repair if they're going to open this up as like make a big deal about opening back up again. That station, just the cosmetic side of it needs a lot of looking at and updating and stuff. And and just like again, future proofing it.
Yeah.
What's the point in keep having to redo it every like 5 years?
I'm so hyped,
You may as well
man.
just get the budget you've got, and then just it's gonna be it's gonna be so good.
It's going to
A
be
couple,
awesome.
a couple of people in the chat were asking about how long do we think the whole process is going to take? Honestly,
a season.
if I think that
How long was Hulk down for?
I'm not
Kyle?
like I kind of think that if depending on approval when the application gets approved and everything, I think we'd be looking at as soon as the main portion of this season is finished, they'll get right on it, and we could be looking at it like going down at the end of the main bulk of the 2022 season and carrying on for it to open perhaps in the summer of 2023. I kind of don't think it's going to take a whole season to do because the Hulk's retrack didn't take an entire season to do, and they completely revamped the queue line, revamped the station with it as well.
Did
Plus
they change
Hulk is
support?
plus the Hulk
Yeah,
Hulk
they
is
did.
just a they did.
They did?
Plus the
Okay.
Hulk is just a much bigger ride in general.
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
huge.
And it
They
still
made-
didn't take a hilarious long time, but that is universal. So
someone put a Twitter on. I think it might even be a traction source. It might have been. They put that compared the supports of the Hulk before and after, and they did so much. They changed up the whole support system like significantly. Still roughly in the same place. Some are different and whatnot. So it just shows you like there's going to be a little bit of that where there'll probably be a lot of different. Because they just know more now, don't they? They know where the stresses are after running this for so long. They know exactly where the stresses are, what the issues are, and there's just better technology now out there now for different styles of supports and stuff. So that was really, really cool to see. But yeah, I agree. Some people were saying they're thinking 2024. I don't think they will do this, like open this the same year as Exodus. I think it would take too much away from it. If we're right in thinking Exodus is going to be in 2024, why are they going to go up against
Nemesis
that?
opens up again with the tallest coaster in the UK.
Could you
And
imagine?
still wins.
They just go down, just dig a bigger pit.
Yeah,
It's definitely a very
it's
positive
going to
move,
reopen
though,
as a
isn't it?
hyper.
Oh yeah, it's 100% a positive.
We're going
move.
off sea level now.
I
It's
think
500
so.
feet above sea level.
I mean, it's kind of what enthusiasts do, really. It's like we have to think through everything and be like, well, this might be not as good. But at the end of the day, we all know that this is a good thing. Like, of course,
Amazing.
it is. Like,
I'm so happy.
we've
The
been,
longevity
everyone's
of it.
been talking about this for so long, and the fact that we've had some evidence that it could actually happen is just like so good, so good.
Yeah.
And it's like
Dave's
if
got a
I have
point
if
there,
I have
yeah.
kids one day, the fact that I could potentially take my kids on this,
Yeah, there you go.
That'd be insane. Like that'd be so good. And,
that's awesome.
Then you'll be that. It's good. It's really, really good.
Mhm.
David is saying maybe they are planning the work.
I've
to
heard a
start
few
later
people say
on,
this.
like 2023. I saw that somewhere on the actual papers. There was a date saying like scheduled for 2022, but I've not looked into that myself. But a lot of people were saying that.
That's an
actually a
interesting
date on the
point from
paperwork.
Matt Loveys. Nemesis
Yeah.
opened originally with the big one in 94. 30 years exactly, rumoured reopen in the year 2024. It will reopen with the UK's new tallest coaster. But
That's what
that
Luke
would be
said.
cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool,
Yeah.
right? It's still
bit of
weird.
That's cool,
history repeating itself.
Wow. Yeah, good
We
shout,
could
Bradley.
see if they
34
did
people
like
watching.
extra theming bits around the area. That would be awesome. I know they probably won't, but that's what I'd like to see.
Yeah.
One thing I'd like to see is them go back to the original Nemesis logo.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, that'd be cool.
like
wouldn't
you know,
it,
the much,
100%.
much more
Yes.
much more horror
Yeah.
kind of associated logo. I just think that logo looks so much cooler.
It's
It's
so
awesome.
much better.
Yeah.
It's so much better. That's the logo I think when I think of Nemesis. I
ain't
don't
broke,
think of
don't
that,
fix it.
that new
People would
version.
love
I don't even
that
know why they
so
changed
much.
it. It's so stupid. I mean, I'm
They
guessing
changed it with
they
like it was like the Oblivion marketing thing, wasn't it? Where everything was like,
Yeah.
all had to be like really weird font and stuff. Like,
Yeah, it's because just the style of that day when it happened, it was like
just
this is
marketing going
this is
nuts.
modern now. And it's
Yeah.
just like, no, you got to realize that like trends come full circle, don't they? And that logo right now is really on trend. If anything,
Popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get through some of these comments because I feel like we're missing them all.
Let's go.
Where do I
Just want to
start?
say, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. There's over 30 people watching, which is crazy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow, that's a lot.
Okay, I'm gonna start here. So, yeah, I think so.
Hey,
Great
Sam.
input there, Sam. Really.
That's Sam Costello from YouTube.
Sam Costello from YouTube.
Legend.
So talking about the color, they will change color. They need to show it's a new coaster. If
Mhm.
you look the same, no one would really be able to tell. Yeah, but do you think people who wouldn't know would even tell if they turned that track red?
Yeah, I was just about to say.
No one's going to notice. No one's going to
Yeah.
notice.
It's
They'll make a
Nemesis.
big hoo-ha about it, hopefully through marketing. But I don't think just changing.
Oh my god! Imagine if they
colour.
painted the same color as Inferno.
Don't even
The paint
don't
Rita
even
colours.
That would be
go
funny.
there. Don't even go
Bright red.
Oh god,
there.
that would never end. Even
David
more.
said anything be better than the teabag stainless. It is.
It is. It
now.
looks
It
like
is now.
someone's.
Oh no.
Mate,
Sure likes
you
that.
guys are just obsessed with teabagging, man. Like, just
Tetley, Yorkshire.
do you
Yorkshire
think Fabio
tea.
Valley will get some TLC as well?
I hope so. Really
yeah,
hope
that'd be
so.
good.
There's not much that has to be done there because it is what it is, isn't it? It's like it looks like the way it's meant to be, all kind of overgrown and stuff. But I just think
The
they
rides
need.
themselves.
I mean, we're not going to get any new rides if this is
More
happening up
theming.
there. But something could be done with the Subterra building.
I hope they repaint, not repaint, but jet wash Galactica like big time.
Yeah.
That needs
I think
to
the
happen.
problem is, do you think like, because everyone's always like, let's jet wash this, jet wash that. Do you think the reason they don't do that is because there's like a big likelihood that it will then look worse because all the paint comes off?
No,
Or, you know, I
because
think
it's
that's an
special
issue.
jet washes to not have the right amount. It has the right amount of PSI per paint that's actually on there. You can calibrate that.
Jesus, fucking nerd alert. I'm joking.
I love that.
You know,
If you get super powerful, you can rip the entire thing off.
I'm just playing devil's advocate, all right?
just give me a jet wash. That's all
I
I'm
know what
saying.
fucking PSI
Give me a jet wash and a cherry
Really.
picker. I'm up there.
What do you think they'll do with Subterra then? Because they can't just leave it now.
Reopen
Not with this
it.
going on.
No, the
Get rid
ride
of it,
is
put
the
it
ride's
out
long
there.
gone, man.
So-
Yeah, they
there's
got
no
rid of
way.
the ride system. I
Yeah,
think.
the ride.
Subterra, the walk through maze.
There might not. The ride system might be there, but it was such a it was just one of these rides because they had the same
Extremics.
ride system in a bloody in Edinburgh Dungeons, I think it was at one point.
London Dungeons
Or
had it as
London
well.
There's a couple of
Dungeons,
It still has
JCB like
Um,
hydraulics.
but they're just like
just put some GCPs down there. Yeah, can we just borrow 3 of your trucks, please? Eggs.
I think the problem with that ride was obviously it happened around the year that shall not be named, that it closed. But where loads of cutbacks were happening, and that
Health and
thing just
safety.
took too many. It just took too many people to run it to actually give you a good
Yeah.
experience. Because if you didn't have that, the
Yeah, if you
interaction
didn't have
of
the actors.
the actors,
Yeah.
it just wouldn't be the same. It was
Yeah,
very
true.
I
bland.
loved it so much.
It was good.
It
was
was
such a good theme
I-
track.
I did it before they added the maze bit at the end, and after the maze bit at the end that
Oh,
did
same.
make
Oh,
it.
the strobe maze at the end was
You
epic.
need
But
that
it was
interaction
even,
at the end.
but it was even it was even them at the start, like shouting at you and like getting
Yeah.
you to go into line and stuff.
Get
like,
on that circle. Don't
To-
move from that circle. Sort of
Yeah,
thing.
to find ride hosts who would be up for that without being like some just 16-year-old kid being like, get over there. You know what I mean? Like it just requires some requires some
From
acting.
Well,
to
Not
it.
wrong.
I have to say, it didn't make much sense, did it? Because you're meant to be like a guest, weren't you, at the start? So what? I was thinking, why would they
I
like
can't even
shout at you
remember.
and
I can't even
stuff?
remember what you meant
So
to
They're
do.
Yeah, wasn't
shouting at
it
you
like-
you were a guest of the facility,
Yeah, it was
weren't
a
you?
guest
So why
to
would they
do a
shout
tour
at
of
you
the facility.
until it goes
Yeah,
wrong, and then they'll shout at you to get out, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but just because
Yeah.
you're a guest doesn't mean you get special treatment at a military
Mm.
facility.
It's like
I
if you
don't
went
know.
to Area 51, I think they'd still like be like these military guys. I think they'd still shout at you and shit, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
But they could do
Probably, yeah.
something. They
I
could do
enjoyed it.
something with that building. I liked that ride. It was such a good ride. But they could do something with it. The Nemesis
shop.
Subterra is not. It's not coming back. It's not coming back.
Oh.
It just,
What, you put in a new one now, like an updated version?
Yeah.
Totally different.
No,
just
it-
like
well, if it does,
I
that's
enjoyed
good. If
it.
they want
That'd
to
be
do
awesome.
something.
VR.
doesn't rely much on actors.
Oh
for
God,
it.
Subterra VR.
Like a visual. Oh no, yeah, visual experience.
The Mark,
Everyone's
The way
doing VR.
VR's brought up in this podcast, everyone's like, "Oh, for fuck's sake!"
Ultimate.
the ultimate.
let me get through these comments,
Yeah.
right? The marketing,
Sorry.
if they focus on the story of the track holding it down and reworking it for the retrack, would be incredible marketing. Yeah, I'd love to see them use some of the old track and put it where the fake track is coming out of the station now. That'd be so
Ooh,
good.
yeah.
Shout
You know
instead
what I
of
mean?
having the
That'd be
fiberglass
cool.
one. Yeah, that'd
Yeah.
be
That'd
sick.
be good.
That'd be really good.
Yeah.
And if they
100%.
they'd use some of that track and do something with a corkscrew outside the gate as well. Could have like 2 on there now.
Oh, that'd be so
Have them
cool.
interlocking or something.
Eventually, it'll just be
Yeah.
like corkscrew after corkscrew
Yeah.
after corkscrew.
Like the smiler
Yeah.
rabbit.
When
Well,
Spinball
you've
Wizard
got that on
goes-
Thorpe as well. To be fair, Thorpe have.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got,
Wasn't that
Right.
specially? Was that not
Yeah.
specially made? Or was
I
that
think they
part of
did
the ride?
specially get that.
Yeah.
for-
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So Hulk, the repaint. The repaint was a pricey job only a few years ago. Marketing needs something to sell, so we may see a new color track. I don't
I've
think
got,
we
a,
will.
I've got a suspicious feeling that everyone was just like, "Oh, how sick does Monster look?" Like it could be like dark grey or black. I've just got a feeling. I don't know why.
It's going to be camouflage, isn't it? That's what it's going to be. Just camo all over the
that'd
place.
be
I can't even see it.
difficult to do. Imagine Nemesis in wrapped camouflage. That'd
Oh
be,
no.
That would be so good.
Nightmare.
that would
Um,
be straight out of the 90s. Yeah.
Oh, this is a good one to
How
talk
about a carbon
This is-
fiber wrap?
Oh God, no! Please don't.
On the trains.
The thing is, all my tripods and gimbals are carbon fiber wrapped, and it just does my head in now. It looks cool at first, but so Owen is saying I kind of want them to redo the soundtrack as well, but not create a new one. Just remake the original with better modern production, as it sounded really outdated, like it's being played off an old tape. Yeah,
So yeah, I spoke to
yeah.
Simon about the music in the park and how some of it sounds outdated, and a lot of the problems are it's not the music itself, it's the systems that they're playing for it.
Yeah.
And it'll cost them an absolute fucking fortune to replace them all.
yeah.
And that's one of the main issues why some of the sounds sound like they do in the park. It's just that the systems are just outdated.
Because when Nemesis would have been when that soundtrack would have been recorded, that would have been analog. So if they've still got the analog recordings, which they might not have them, but if they still have them, they should sound as good today as they did when they were first recorded.
Yeah.
So I hope that is the case. But
Also,
Yeah.
am I right? Am I right in thinking that they actually did what Owen suggested one year? Like,
yeah, we talked about this, didn't we? Recently.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
They
I'm
did
pretty
recently.
sure they have the '94, version of the soundtrack, and then it was remade again like several years later.
Yeah.
And I remember listening to it, like there were little subtle differences in it, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is cool, but I prefer the '94 version.
Yeah, they're gonna have to get it. It would have to be done so well. I don't.
It's
I
like
d- I
when
still-
they redid.
I
Dark
don't want to
Forest
say
audio.
this because I love Armor Score and I don't want to like just like shit on them a little bit, but like I don't know if Armor Score are necessarily the right people to do something like this.
No.
Just because like they're great at what they're doing when they come up with like soundtracks, but I've never seen them like I don't know, unless you've got some kind of memories attached to Nemesis. It's a weird one to try and emulate.
If
I'm a score are always as good as the brief they're given for each of their soundtracks, which is why Phantasialand soundtracks always sound so incredible. I just don't think that like the brief that Towers would give Imascore to do that remake, and just the nature of that remake itself, I don't think would lend itself to how Imascore like the kind of instruments that audio effects that Imascore usually include in in their other soundtracks. I don't know. It just like it. I don't know. I do agree that I don't think Imascore is the right way to go.
The thing with
Yeah.
Imascore is that they always record an orchestra, always, and Nemesis's music is from the 90s. Now, I don't know for a fact if it wasn't recorded with a full orchestra or if it was all done digitally, but it has that feel to it. If you put a full orchestra behind the Nemesis soundtrack, it will sound different. So
it could
they
sound
need to-
epic, though. I don't know.
It will.
Like, it
No,
could
it
sound
fucking
epic.
would, without a doubt. It would sound
Like
absolutely
if you had
incredible.
if you could have like an orchestra, a full orchestra, but then also have like an analog synth, because it's
All of
very
the
like analog
sound
synth,
effects,
synthy
move
sounds,
sounds to it,
and
and everything,
it's almost like they've took like like where you used to get like the samples on the CDs or things, and they got them and put it in there. That's almost what it's like. So they would have to be, the brief would have to be like orchestral new, but with a retro vibe.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Have to be like retro vibe, and that's the thing. Like Imascore so good at coming up with these fresh new concepts, and like you say, like Fantasia Land sounds so good. Galactica is such an amazing song.
Smiler.
Smiler, Wicker Man, everything. They do, for me, such a good job. But yeah, I've just never, unless someone else knows that they've redone a soundtrack, I'd be interested to know. But they do so much now, don't they? They do like trailers for films, and I think they're even starting to get into feature films and stuff now. So that they are a much more bigger company. Even from when they did Smiler, they were still kind of
Huge.
small,
So I think that I kind of feel like if they were as small as they were now, and they got the brief for Nemesis, it would sound different again. Whereas now they've like done movie trailers, they've done movies themselves, they've done all kinds of productions and all this experience. And yes, it would be amazing. Don't get me wrong, I would love to hear. I heard a little snippet of the Imascore Nemesis bit from the fireworks last year.
Yeah,
sounded great, but I don't think a full orchestral piece of the Nemesis soundtrack would suit Forbidden Valley. Never mind Nemesis. Don't forget, the Nemesis soundtrack isn't necessarily for Nemesis. There was no air. There was no, there was none of that. It was just Nemesis in Forbidden Valley, and what you had there, it's kind of more the Forbidden Valley soundtrack. And I think that's the way to approach it. Keep it originally sounding, but like you say, just if Imascore was to do it, just don't drop in a shit ton of impact sounds. Keep the cinematic
like movie
stuff out of
style.
it. Yeah, just keep it.
Don't go full Inception.
Yeah, legit. Stay away from Hans Zimmer and go keep sparks. Like that's.
Yeah, so Scared Track. I miss Subterra, but as it's just SVN, I really hope they get rid of it. It's just an eyesore on an otherwise great themed area.
Yeah,
I think most people are in agreement with that, but I'm like, wow, it kind of just looks like a military little base. I don't think it looks that out of place, if I'm honest.
No,
but if they did something with it, if it was an actual use and they maybe just spruced it up a little bit and made it look a little bit better themed, like a military building, they could do something cool in there. It's a big building, like it's a decent size.
They had the Mardi Gras robots. The robot were there, weren't they? I wonder if they knocked down the Subterra building, for example, and put a Retro Squad member there, if it could be themed to like the Forbidden Valley, like the Guardian of Forbidden Valley, if you see what I mean, as you coming through the gates, sort of thing.
I'll tell you what, though, I've seen people have been working in that building in the last season.
It's probably been used for a lot of storage and probably for the games department.
Yeah,
like I wouldn't be surprised.
I'd like for it to get renewed, reopened, and reused rather than just being there and not doing anything.
Yeah. Owen said they redid everything at Thorpe, of course, and kept the melodies. Like, yeah, I think we talked about that when we had this conversation. Like,
But we don't need
Colossus
the Hall of the
is-
Mountain King in Nemesis' soundtrack. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Colossus is so much better than it used to be, but I mean, they didn't really have much to work with in the first place. It wasn't as iconic, you know. So it's just I mean, they did an amazing job of all of all the Thorpe stuff. Like I say, Colossus is one of my favorite soundtracks in the UK. It's the soundtrack wise, I love it. I think it's such a good beat. Bring back Ripsaw. It's never happening. Sorry.
Right.
Them
You
rides
can
are
dream.
dying
You
out,
can
man.
dream.
Everyone
If you
was
want-
happy
if that
with
makes you
Funk and
happy,
Fly.
but- can always
The
dream.
remainder of them rides, everyone's trying to get all the spare parts of them, and
Yeah.
it was
Shame,
such a
innit?
good ride though. It was so I loved that. It was such a good. It is sorely missed though, isn't it? Really, like
Yeah.
just being able to go
Yeah.
and watch everyone on Ripsaw, but yeah, it's a massive shame, really.
It's mad how
So-
Funk and Fly didn't have that effect. Like, it's a ride in the same area with a viewing platform, but it didn't.
It's just
mad
the
how-
water and the theming as well. Anything,
Yeah,
though,
how
ain't it?
Ripsaw like entranced everyone who was walking through.
It's because
Valley.
people love seeing people like in some kind
Pain.
of pain or like, uncomfortableness.
It's
So
true.
Schadenfreude,
everyone's just
that's
like
called.
everyone's just watching people get soaked. You know, everyone loves it. So
Did you not like
but
Funk and
yeah.
Fly, Tom? Tom's put Funk and Fly can get in the bin.
I enjoyed that, you know. It's the only
I
one
thought it
actually
looked
really
pretty cool
enjoyed.
where it was. I think it looked
Yeah.
pretty cool where it was.
David's saying I don't think the park will be going balls to the wall with the relaunch. The 4E track is a long-term cost-saving measure, in my opinion, rather than constantly
That is
doing
true.
small segments.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get
See
that,
that.
but also if it was the cost-saving measure, if that was what they were doing, they would have just flipping torn it out, you know. And I don't know, like I feel like they're spending this much money on it. I feel like they will try and recoup some money because you know that they'll be spending the same amount of money it is to build a brand new coaster, and
Yeah.
if they're still getting the same visitor numbers as the year before, because unless they could put in a brand new attraction at the same time, I can't see that happening.
You definitely use it as a
so-
big thing, wouldn't you, marketing wise, though? It's a big
I think they could do an amazing. They don't have to go like all out and stuff on it, but if they recreated like
Funk and
if
Fly.
they did a whole retro TV ad, you know, like the original Nemesis advert.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that'd be awesome.
Did it proper retro, and you know, because Retro Squad, when that advert come out, everyone went crazy for it. Everyone was like, "This is amazing." So
I
if you did
also
something with,
remember
like,
that-
Transformers, that's why.
I also
Transformers,
remember
Bon
it's
Jovi.
not-
everyone
it's-
slating it beforehand because it
Yeah.
got leaked that they were getting them types of rights.
But it just shows you what a marketing campaign can do, and nostalgia sells. It's a massive thing at the minute.
Huge.
If you go in and
Yeah.
you say,
It's
and
been a
you,
massive
'cause
thing.
if you watch the old Nemesis advert, and you see all them miniatures the way it was done, and you could put in you could do some modern effects on it and stuff. I think that would really get people back to the park who remember it when they were younger. Take their kids or their maybe like, you know, young teen or whatever with them. Be like, we're gonna go do this, and it'll get people back who have previously been like, no, I don't want to go back to Alton Towers. I think that's what they could aim this at. I don't think they'll be able to aim it at like this is a brand new coaster for the UK and stuff. But
It also means
if-
Americans. It also means Americans can wait another 20 years before coming over to ride this.
yeah,
More
exactly.
excuses not to
But
come
if-
over.
if-
It's gonna be like all the memories, isn't it? It's gonna be like
if they don't drop like 300 grand on this multi-million-pound project just for marketing, like 300 grand, 400 grand on it, like what is that in the grand scheme of things? They're potentially bring in like more people. I think it'd be crazy if they didn't do
Yeah.
it.
Oh man, do you reckon they're going to relaunch the sodas and the cereals and like, you know, like,
mate, that'd be so good.
Oh, the comics,
The
Redo
VHS tape,
a,
we'll bring that
a
in.
reprint of the
I
comics.
think
I could
think
definitely see
this
them
is- yeah.
reselling the original comic again.
Ooh, let's go.
I think they
Yes.
will, because like if Towers didn't care, they wouldn't have got John Wardley there for like the anniversary.
Hmm.
They would have just gone, okay, we'll just chuck out a few bits of merch, but they went
make a
quite
cake.
big for that. Yeah, we'll make a cake. But they went quite big for that, and so I think that I think they will do some extra marketing stuff
I agree, Jess. We need a Nemesis shop. 100%. Need a Nemesis shop. There needs to be more merch for Nemesis. Like
Nemesis has by far the worst selection of merch.
Yeah,
in my
it's not got
opinion.
enough. But that's
not got
because the
enough.
new logo sucks ass, and the old one would sell more, right?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I
think
hate that
so.
style of logo they did for Nemesis. I've got it, but you know, like where it's like all the viney
25.
shiny stuff on it.
Yeah,
Like it's just like I don't like that. I just think it looks a bit cheap.
No, I don't like it.
Just get a proper print, proper printed, not printed, but like even like a proper nice decent hoodie, man, with like the old Nemesis logo on it. That would sell like so much.
Long sleeve
so
shirt,
much.
like with the Nemesis logo. On, would be
Anything.
epic. With like the
Anything
track
was
going
that
down
horrible
the side.
material.
That's so cool.
How many bolts are they going to have to replace in this project?
What was it?
It was about 420 or something.
It was 600 and something, wasn't it? Oh no, was it 380? Something like I can't remember what it is now.
How much
remember.
was the load
It's still in its
weighing?
thousands. It was like it was like 3,000 or something like that.
Was it?
680 bolts, I think.
I thought it was like
680. I think it's six. Someone go and read the plan and let us know in the chat quickly.
It was definitely
Say how many
hundreds.
bolts.
Definitely in the
Get
hundreds.
Tom
I
Baker
think.
back to narrate it.
600
Yes.
and odd.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
680, I think. Or 630.
Was it?
I said 420, but I just think I like the number.
420.
I can't remember.
Keep the photo booth to like the building where it is. It's like abandoned. Do you think right, okay, quick one. Do you think that on-ride photo booths are going to continue to operate at towers with the fact that some of them have gone digital now in the park, like Oblivion and Galactica?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the problem with it is the whole the facial recognition isn't there yet.
Yeah, it don't
they
work,
need
yeah.
to, like, the Disney one works so well. Like that just pops up on your app. It's so mad. Like the Disney one is like
Yes, but it's
we
Disney.
forgot when we went to Disney, we forgot that we bought that extra add-on thing, but we had the app with us, and it's
Well, it's like a photo pass.
Yeah, but then like so you have your photo taken and you go into your app and it just appears.
The Towers
it's
one doesn't
insane.
work.
But yeah, the Towers one has a few issues, so they have to like iron that out. It's the company they've gone with. Is it like Pixel or something? Is it still Pixel?
I thought Pixel dissolved.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh, it was, wasn't it?
Dissolved.
Yeah, no, it was. They were wanted to do the
Pixel
original
dissolved.
one, but I don't know who does it now.
I
But
like
it just
having the
wasn't
proper,
working.
like, take home pictures and that. I think it's nice.
Yeah, the magnets. I think for them, magnets and stuff like that like sell so well that people like to have a physical thing and the artwork in it and stuff. Like I think
iMagic.
it's such an impulse buy. That's what they get people with on that, isn't it? It's like you see your photo,
Yeah.
you go, oh, that looks great, let's get it now, and then they get it done. It's not the same when it's just digital, unless they sell a package.
I'd also definitely buy that as opposed to some merch as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I'm going to buy photos, it's a toss-up between photos and merch. I don't
Especially
get both
in the big
on the same
books,
trip.
like Wicker Man.
Like,
Never my photos.
It's
No,
the problem.
I
The
haven't
problem
bought
with me
one for
is
Probably
as long as masks. There's no point buying. I bought one picture with me in a mask just for the novelty factor because I was like, I'm wearing a mask on the train. That novelty wore off quite fast.
Later that day.
Yeah, literally.
6 hours later.
10 minutes
Yeah,
later.
The problem with me is when me and Joe have photos, the amount of photos I've ruined because I put my hands up like that. and I was,
Yeah.
like, covering
Covering
her
her face.
They're never straight. So you put your hands
Every
up like on a coaster, they end up forward. You have to
do
really
that.
come back.
Yeah,
I just buy the Wicker Man ones because they're always
do
the best
Grogu.
pictures, aren't they? On Wicker Man, they're always best pictures.
it's better cameras and stuff on it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's well, yeah, it's done well there. Also, a lot of the time it's where they place the camera. They have to think about where the sun's going to be. Sometimes you'll go to some parks and you'll just have a washed out photo because the sun's right behind you.
Don't even get me
And
talking
it's
about
just reminds
I
me.
knew you were gonna. I knew you were gonna.
That
catch
reminds
You
me
knew I
of my
was gonna say
first annual pass that I got. I got
Oh,
it done at
God.
Chessington, and they took the picture for because I got it done there. They took the picture. The sun was behind me, hitting onto the window they were taking a photo from. You couldn't see me; you just saw white.
Yeah,
Have you seen how bright that camera is on Wicker Man? The flash, sorry, at night.
Yeah.
It's like light up the whole area. Like it's crazy.
yeah. Their 13 one is the worst. It's like a strobe party,
Yeah.
If they are changing the soundtrack, I'd love for them to make a few versions to be played at the different events at the park, like Oktoberfest. Yeah, that'd
Why
be
not?
cool.
Yeah, cool.
I love it
Down
to
for
be
that.
done on all the rides, really.
Yeah,
But I think
I mean-
the problem with they have a very small amount of time to turn around music at that
Yeah.
place. So, from experience,
I'm in two minds about that because when it comes to events, I like events that are concentrated to one area of the park and don't invade on other areas where it wouldn't make sense thematically.
yeah,
Like at Phantasialand, the Wintertraum stuff was concentrated to the Berlin section, and you barely saw any of it in any of the other areas apart from the light up animals in deep in Africa where Black Mamba is. But
oh, you know what? That song is just such a banger. It gets stuck in my head.
but like the rest of the park was just Phantasialand with a
Yeah.
few Christmas garlands here and there.
Mm.
Fair.
I kind of like that. So you get best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Like you get the effect of the seasonal event in one area of the park, but then you still get the rest of the park as you go around the park.
Yeah,
So, I don't know.
Matt said that Thought Park, it makes sense there because it's so concentrated and it's not really. But also, I had this issue with Thought Park last year. Is I like the fact that they do these overlays, but when these parks are now having events pretty much all throughout the year now, from like
Yeah,
June onwards now, is it?
Mhm.
I think it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
One
June or
event to
July
another, isn't
onwards.
You barely get the original.
You don't get the
Yeah.
original.
It's
So if
clearance.
someone's visiting for the first
that too.
time, if someone's visiting for the first time, like in the summer holidays or something,
And they've
and they
got
keep
the
going for
rap
years,
ids.
they're going to think Rumba
Mic
Rapids
drop.
is like the actual. I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't moan if Rumba Rapids. That was actually a massive improvement on the actual one they've got now. But stuff like Stealth's launch and stuff, like when do people hear like, imagine if someone from America come to visit and like doing like a bucket list Europe trip and they go to Thorpe Park and the only thing they've ever heard is like an overlay soundtrack and they're not getting the full experience.
I agree.
There'd be a
Yeah.
shame if that happened to them. They went to Nemesis and and they've heard all about
Especially
this
with the
ride.
soundtrack as iconic as Nemesis is.
And then suddenly you've just got it's so fucking weird and Nemesis, wouldn't it?
Some unpar kind of Nemesis like
Yeah.
remix.
It would just be odd,
What
mate.
was that soundtrack again? I think
Bum,
that should be
bum, bum.
Nemesis' new
was
soundtrack.
Match of the
That's
Day,
that's
wasn't
gonna be it.
That's been recorded.
Okay.
on there.
But they have to do
Let's
some
have
kind of
that on.
yodeling instead of like the iconic voiceover on Nemesis. It will just be like I don't know. I can't do it. I don't want to do a German voice.
I just love the on Inferno where when you went through the tunnel and they had a yodeling like coming out.
Yeah.
That works though. That
New
works.
That
soundtrack,
works.
Sean's doing.
I
that.
think
I love
that's the
that.
thing. Like Thorpe can kind of get away with it because it's kind of like tongue in cheek. It's aimed at that market where it's kind of like a bit of a laugh. But also, that's coming from people who have done Thorpe Park quite a lot. Like if you've never done Thorpe Park before and you don't get that original score and stuff, you don't get the ride the way it was intended. But like I say, also it is fun to have that, especially for people who are used to the park. It's nice to have them like novelty tracks, especially Fright Nights. I always like the Fright Nights overlay. I think that works because of the vibe of the entire park.
All changes. It all changes.
It's
Yeah.
one of
Park
Well,
vibes was
isn't it?
park
Like-
vibes was not different enough park wide for me to justify like having the different soundtracks all the time. Like I think there needs to be a balance there still.
Yeah, the good thing with Fright Nights is usually they would do up till about 3 p.m. is still normal audio,
Yeah.
and then there's a big change.
It's like
Does
a
that? I can't
university.
remember. I
and
can't
then it
remember
goes
if that
into-
happens.
I agree with what
Um,
you're saying though, but like we go to these parks all the time, so we like to have a little change, don't we? But if you're going like one year or less than that,
And then you
ruin
also have to
it for you.
and then you also have to take into account like the massive size difference between these two parks as well. Like events at Thorpe Park are gonna feel more concentrated by nature just because it's
Yeah.
such a much smaller
Yeah.
park. But something that I noticed with Mardi Gras in last year in comparison to Oktoberfest in 2020, because those are the only two events that I've been to at Towers. This is just what I thought and how I felt, but different like sections of Mardi Gras being spread around the entire park and in the different areas sort of diluted the effect of being engulfed in the event. Whereas with Oktoberfest, with it all being centered on the lawn, like it was like you could go into that section, and like it was a lot more intensive, the feeling and the atmosphere in there, because all of the budget on all of everything that was thrown at the event was concentrated to that one area. Whereas Mardi Gras, it felt a little watered down because there was only bits of it in each section.
Bring
Them
back
Yorkshire pudding wraps though.
Bring back
there's too many families at Towers to run scare zones in places.
And also, I feel like this is just becoming like a thing that people say now, because like everyone says it. Like, no offense, obviously, if you really like scare zones, that's fine. But like, I think back to all the scare zones that Towers had, and I compare them to like the actual the quality of mazes we get now. Like, I'd rather have better scare mazes and more scare mazes than just diluted scare zones. Where and scare zones are like renowned for, especially in this country as well. Scare zones are renowned for like actors getting abuse hurled at them and stuff. And they can be like, it's not the right vibe for Towers. Because if they did a scare zone, it would have to be tucked away somewhere, like the zombie one was, and then it's kind of like it's just its own scare maze anyway, and it's just kind of like I just don't think there's anything good about it, really.
There's too many families at Towers, and they said this when we did the Attraction Source event, and this question was brought up, and it answered it brilliantly. Kieran answered it brilliantly. He basically said that we can't have a kid coming off Spinball, walking towards their next coaster, and then getting scared to death when they choose not to be that. They don't want to be scared. They want to just enjoy the park. The family want to enjoy the park. Whereas people who want to be scared can pay the price and go on the scare mazes.
But then
and there's no room in Towers to do. Believe it or not, they are very short on space where they can do certain things at Towers.
I'd rather see just more Roman actors though, and they can be.
And they did that last year.
Yeah,
but they did that last
more so.
They did that. They did that last year. Like, they improved the Roman actors quite a bit.
I will say this, Aaron. When we went on Halloween, there was hardly any, but that was due to weather. But when I went to the Attractions event, they were everywhere. So it's just look at the draw, isn't it? Sometimes,
I think we saw none like it, but it was the weather conditions. But the things they can do, which doesn't have to be like a scare maze to make the overall event better and not to scare families to death either.
It's not universal horror night. It's not universal horror night.
It doesn't have to be that level, does it? It could be. But
I'm on about scare zones. Sorry. I'm saying like. Universal, they're the ones known for the scare zones, and that's why everyone's always like, we want loads of scare zones, and it's just like, it's a different type of event.
It's
definitely,
it's completely different. Like, you go to Thorpe Park, their scare zone involves like people getting murdered and stuff, and like it's not the right vibe. It just then
bring back
a massively different clientele
in the hotel
massively
at Halloween Horror Nights.
Make the Woodlands area
like
a scare zone.
Adults.
It's probably one of the nicest areas to go during Scarefest, just to get away from everything. The new lighting that they put in there is like, it's so good. What they put in the gardens, the woodland.
Now. So is you on about the gardens, because it's really not safe. It's not safe.
It's not. You can do a scare zone in there. No.
And inclined and stuff, so it would.
But it's beautiful. But what they've done now with the twinkling lights,
it's awesome, isn't it?
It's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, that's like a more of a family thing, isn't it? And that's what they need. If anything, they need more stuff like that. Like, I'm being diplomatic here. Like, if I had my own way, we would have Halloween Horror Nights at Scarefest. But the way that Towers is positioned is as like a family theme park, and if we didn't have it as a family theme park, we would end up with Thorpe, who are kind of confused as to who their clientele are.
For very
Imagine.
And they don't bring in as much money because the family market bring in more money. So you have more family areas. It means you have more thrill rides. It means you have things like Nemesis Retrack that can happen. So it's a balance that these parks all around the world have to make. It's the reason why Disney do so well. It's the reason Universal do so well. Is because they've got that balance of family and thrill right. So yeah, that's the way it kind of has to be.
I wonder if the only way they could possibly do this is if one night of the year, Horror Alton Towers is just literally let loose, like the whole park.
Yeah, like an adults only sort of
18 plus.
Yeah,
it's
18
just
plus.
full on. I would pay many amounts of pounds to go to that.
Yeah,
that would be
100%.
Do that on Halloween. Do that on Halloween night.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, just whenever
October 31st.
Yeah, like that would be so freaking awesome. Yeah. Like all the scare actors just out everywhere, and that would be nuts.
I was going to say that. I was going to say after a certain time, go like extreme or whatever, more for adults.
And I mean that's being done at other parks as well. Like I mean, at the Busch Gardens parks for Howler Scream, they make it clear that after 5 p.m. is they're going balls to the wall with Howler Scream. So if families families have the entire like day prior to that, and they are let, like the park lets them know through signs around the park, through notices on the website, etc., that after 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. I can't remember what the time is, but a specific time, like Howler Scream begins, and if you don't want your experience to be impeded by scare actors and stuff like that, this is the time that you might want to consider
that as
leaving.
well, Mikhail.
Say again, sorry.
Does Knott's do that as well?
Yeah, not scary, isn't it?
Not Scary Farm.
Yeah, it does.
They might do.
They might do. They do.
I think Knott's pretty renowned for going pretty full on with their nights, because they were like the first to do it, weren't they? So they like
some of their scare mazes look insane. It looks so good.
Yeah. The thing is, though, I don't think we'd ever be satisfied, because I'd want more Halloween, more scare, more. You know what I mean?
You'll never be satisfied with Halloween.
You'd be like, we can't do any more now.
Yeah,
you know.
Like, speaking of Halloween,
someone's been haunted.
There goes Michelle.
I was just going to say, we're probably going to wrap up pretty soon. So if there's anything else you want to talk about in the chat, any other kind of questions and stuff, yeah, cool. But yeah, so all in all, very exciting stuff for Nemesis Retrack. We went well off tangent again there.
Yeah, but Scarefest. Wouldn't be the Chain Dogs podcast if we didn't.
Exactly, man.
Too early.
Yeah, so no, but I'm really excited to what the future holds. Just for the UK theme parks in general, like the amount that is happening. You know, we've got Exodus, we've got Chessington's new coaster. There's loads of exciting stuff there. We've got, Legoland are potentially having a new coaster in the future. That could be a major thing, could be a little thing. We've got so much going on. We've got Flamingo Land. Eventually.
Drayton
have got going
their
on.
new area.
Yeah, Drayton.
Exactly.
Wonder what that is.
Yeah. What's that? Knott's empties the park for an hour or so. Then
I knew it. Yeah, I knew it.
That's what Thorpe did for Ministry of Sound when they wanted to do over 18s only. Kick everyone out for an hour, and then get people back in while doing full-on frisk searches.
That at least should do.
Experience.
Sounded like you enjoyed that, James.
It was amazing. Just what I wanted on a Friday night.
Owen was saying that at least should do more to create an atmosphere around the park outside the mazes. I think that's what everyone really wants. Oh yeah, I think that can be achieved with like Roman actors personally. It's like the freak show stuff was quite good that year they did it, but I wasn't that impressed with it, to be honest. When when it was not freak show Toxic Junkyard, but that same concept, but as a walkthrough thing, it was down the path, weren't it? Between Spinball and
Circus of Scream,
where it is now. No, it was just called Freak Show.
Oh, it was Freak Show.
Oh,
It was just a,
well,
the
sorry,
Freak
before
Show.
that.
It was a scare zone.
I'm going
but
far
it was just
too
like
far back
it was just like actors just like interacting with the crowd and stuff,
Like
which is
acting on
pretty cool.
pedestals and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
So they could potentially do something with that just in different places, but more actors. But like again, like Mikhail was saying, that if we're going to do that, I think we'd have to have it all confined to that one space of where they have all the mazes. You can't have that park wide, or it just feels too much to cover. Because even covering like the front lawns up to like where Trick or Treat Town was, that's a massive space. Like I was seeing zombies and stuff in like Smiler, but yeah, by Smiler. Europa Park. Make Halloween a completely separate event to the actual park, separate entrance too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to see that at Tower.
Enter via the hotel, starting Forbidden Valley, off you go. Then like line it up like Lightopia, but do it all as a massive scare attraction.
I'd have scare rooms in the hotel.
That'd be sick. That'd be so good.
Come on, boys, we're being silly now.
We are being silly, but like you said, there's no point being diplomatic about this.
That's the thing is though, what I like about Scarefest is it's like an entire day. It's for me, it's not just about the scares, it's about doing my favorite coasters, as well as like then looking forward to doing the mazes. You know, you have that, and then after you do the mazes, you can look forward to doing some night rides. Like I like that. I like that different thing personally.
The whole atmosphere is brilliant.
Well, I guess that doesn't stop you from going in the daytime and then coming out for like a little bit and then go back in.
No.
But yeah, it's an interesting idea, but I just want them to just what I want Towers to do is to keep adding mazes, not take ones away. I want them to just get to the point where we have like 10 mazes there.
We need to have a
that'd be good, wouldn't it? I like that.
We need to have a special episode this year where we talk about what potentially mazes we could see, like what themes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it's all about Sir Algernon. It definitely is. Anyway, on that note, I think we're done, guys. So yeah, thanks everyone for joining us of this Monday night special.
Thank you so much, guys.
Genuinely, I forgot it was Monday, so I was like, "Oh, I'm in work tomorrow," and then I realised I'm not in work tomorrow because it's
Monday. That's what we like to hear. I can't believe we had a record amount of
38 people.
Yeah, that was insane. Like, so thanks everyone for joining us. Maybe we might move it to Monday. Let us know what days suit you.
And
we'll talk about it. But yeah, thank you.
Scaretrack said before you close it out. Scaretrack said, more important question: who are we seeing in 2 weeks?
Not me, unfortunately.
Oh,
I'll be there.
Oh, I'll be there, obviously.
Next week.
Yeah.
I think we're all there except for James. I think. As I know
James.
so far.
James is at Towers though. James at Towers.
Hey, Towers opening.
Are you there on the Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Oh, okay, brilliant. I'll be there on Sunday, so I can meet up with you
It's
guys.
my
And I'm going by
birthday
myself.
as well.
Joe can't go, so I'm going by myself. So.
We're staying at the hotel, so make sure. Yeah,
wait, copyright.
sort that out.
Copyright. Can't do that. Can't even mime it. All right, cool. Everyone, thank you so much. We'll see you next time. We're not sure. We're talking potentially about doing another episode on Wednesday. Maybe, but we just got to double check things. So we're just catching up with ourselves, really. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, hopefully see you Wednesday or next Wednesday. But it's definitely going to be Wednesday. Promise you. All right. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.